Hi, I'm Eva Murphy from Electronic Engineering at IT Sligo, and this is my Leaving Cert Maths Grinds channel. I'll regularly add new videos for both higher and ordinary level maths, so make sure you subscribe below and click the bell icon to be notified of new videos. So what I just have here is an example that I'm going to do for you, which is differentiate the function 3x squared plus 5x from first principles, okay? So you can do calculus in two ways. You can do it by rule, and when I say it by rule, there's a page in the log tables. Okay, so this page is what's referred to as doing calculus by rule. Okay, and I'll take you through that in a minute. Okay, if the question though says from first principles, you've got to do it using this formula. Okay, so how does it work? Well, our function, our f of x, is always what they give you in the question. Okay, so that's your f of x. We generally do differentiation from first principles with 5 steps. Okay, step 1, we find f of x, but we're always given it. Okay, so maybe I'll write the word given rather than find. Step 2, we develop an expression for f of x plus h, which is just this part here. Step 3, we do f of x plus h minus f of x, okay, which is just we're subtracting step 2 minus step 1. And you see there, it's the top line of the formula. Step 4 is divide by h, which is this part here. And step 5, we do the limit part. So they are what's often called the 5 steps of first principles, and some teachers teach it that way, some don't. Okay, so that's step 1. We have f of x. Right, f of x plus h. Okay, so you may remember this from functions. The way I do it is if you look at the one before it, we had f of x. X has now been replaced by x plus h, which means everywhere there's x in f of x, I'm going to replace them with x plus h. Okay, we then work it out. Be careful that you always do the squared bit first. Okay, because of BOMDAS, order has to be done before multiply. So you have to do the squared bit before you multiply in the 3. Okay, so common enough mistakes that can get made is that this one here becomes 3x plus 3h and then you square it. But no, you do the square first and then multiply your answer by 3. Okay, and if you square that, you will get very quick at it because it's the same thing in every question. And then multiply in your h. Okay, so it looks a bit long-winded, but it's okay. And again, a couple of them, and you get quite familiar with working it out. Okay, step 3, I subtract them. So it's everything I just wrote in the last line. 6xh plus h squared plus 5x plus 5h, and I minus off that f of x, okay? Now, I use big square brackets for that because it is so easy to make mistakes here. It's minus everything that's in f of x. So it's minus 3x squared minus 5x, okay? It is so easy to write down minus 3x squared plus 5x at that point. Okay, it's not that, it's minus everything that's in f of x. So watch out for that one. Okay, and what you'll find is everything in f of x cancels with something backstream. Okay, and that will always happen. And you're on the right track when you manage to cancel everything in f of x with something in f of x plus h. Okay, so your answer then is that 6xh plus h squared plus 5h. Okay, so that this cancelling is one little hint to keep you on the straight and narrow. The other thing that's really good to know is that every term you have left after you subtract f of x from f of x plus h, every term should have a h. Okay, and it'll always be that case. Okay, so that's step 3 done. Step 4 is to divide this by h, okay? And when you're dividing, h has to get divided by every single term on the top. So h goes into that one once. This is h squared or h by h. So I cancel out the squared bit because I'm only left with 1 now and here. So no matter how many terms in the top, each of them gets divided by the h. So that you're left with 6x plus h plus 5. Okay, and then the last step is the limit as h tends to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Okay, so what you're doing is you're bringing that h practically to 0. In fact, so close to 0 that you just sub in 0 for h. It's tiny. Okay, that gap is so small that it's practically 0. So anywhere there's h at that point, you sub in 0. And you're left with just, 6x plus 5 as your final answer. So the first one or two you do feels a little bit long-winded, but you get into it very fast, and actually it's a lovely question. If that came up in your Leaving Cert, you would be delighted. If you've enjoyed this video, then why not join us in IT Sligo and use Maths in practice. In conjunction with industry, we've designed an exciting new program in electronics and self-driving technologies, which uses cutting-edge techniques such as artificial intelligence, computer vision, and virtual and augmented reality. You'll need a H5 in Maths to qualify. Check out the link below.